Paper bead making is an incredibly rewarding hobby that's enjoyed by loads and loads of people all around the world. But how do you get from this, the design that you want to use, to these perfectly cut paper bead strips? Because you need these strips in order to roll them to make these paper beads. But what actually is the best way to draw your paper bead strips? Well, many years ago I designed this paper bead strip template, and I've sold many of these over the years. However, I have now replaced that with a much stronger, sturdier, clear plastic paper bead template, and this template has got 8 different choices on there, and that enables you to make various size beads, which is a huge step forward from this one, the one that I used to sell, because it was so flexible that I could only offer 4 choices on that one. But because this one is much more rigid and it's also 2mm thick, that meant that I could easily cut more apertures into the material without having it completely collapse like this one would have done if I had put more apertures in there. The other huge advantage of my new template is that it's clear plastic and you can see right through it. And for me, that was a huge game changer because it enables you to make the best use of your paper possible. It enables you to see really easily where you drew your last line. So what you can do is you draw out all of your strips as close to each other as you possibly can without overlapping, and that means that you don't waste any paper. But the thing is, you don't waste any paper anyway when you cut these strips, because as you will see further on in the video, all of what you would call the waste strips, you can actually use them to make spacer beads. So there isn't really any waste, but what you do want to do is maximize the number of main strips that you can get, and using this method you can get 11 1-inch strips from an A4 sheet of paper. I think I got 11 1-inch strips and 1 3/4 inch strip, so I managed to get 12 strips from one sheet, and it's all because you can see where your previous lines were drawn. And this is one that I have completed, so it's got the 11 1-inch strips and 1 3/4 inch. It's quite difficult to show you the template on here because it is see-through, but I think you get the basic idea of what it's like. And then you just need a craft knife and a metal ruler, and if you've been really careful about where you position your strips, you can just cut the tops and the bottoms off all in one go. So that's why you need to line the strips up nice and straight along the bottom. And you don't ever need to discard any of these bits of paper that you're cutting off, because every single piece can be used to roll into a bead. So if you collect up all these so-called waste strips and use them to make beads too, you will have a nice box full of spacer beads that you can use in your necklaces and bracelets in between your main beads. So no part of an A4 sheet is ever wasted. You can make a bead with even the tiniest scrap of paper. So these are a few of the skeleton strips that I got from cutting up 2 sheets of A4 into 1-inch bead strips, and even these tiny skinny strips will make lovely spacer beads. So don't forget to roll these ones up when you roll up the main beads. So here we have the lovely 1-inch strips that we've cut using the new template, but what are we going to roll them up with? Well, most people will use a traditional bead rolling tool like one of these. Now, these 2 tools are the ones that I used to make and sell on Etsy, but a lot of you will already know I don't do that anymore. I don't actually make these tools anymore, and there's several reasons for that which I won't bother to go into now, because honestly it really doesn't matter why I don't make them and sell them on Etsy anymore. But the demand for the tools is very much still there. So what I've decided to do is share with you how you can make your own paper bead rolling tool, and I'm going to share with you where you can get the supplies and how you can easily do this. They're not going to be identical to mine, but the crucial thing about these bead tools is the pin, the part that you actually slot the paper into to roll your paper bead strip. And I'm actually going to give you a link over on my blog, www.funcraftstodo@home.com. I'm going to give you a link over there where you can get these pins, okay? Because as I said, the pin is the crucial part of the bead tool. But then you also have the consideration of what you're going to use for a handle. Because although you can roll bead strips without a handle, you can do it just by using the pin. It's not very comfortable, and if you're going to be rolling a lot of beads, you really want one with a handle. You can see it can be done this way. It's not impossible, but I don't like doing it this way. You know, you really do need a handle. So in my hand you can see there's two sizes. The smaller one is the 3mm pin and the larger one is the 5mm pin. So the 5mm pin is used to make paper beads that are known as large hole beads or European style beads, and so that was the one that I used to put into my 5mm tool, and this is the 3mm one, and you would use this to roll beads with a smaller core hole when you're using a much finer threading material. Okay, so the issue with handles, the reason that I can't tell you how to make these beads with my original handles is because these pins need to be put into these handles under tremendous pressure, and not only that, they need to be put in dead straight, and that isn't easy for most people to do. So I needed to find a way that people could actually use these pins and put them onto a handle that was really easy to do, and I have actually found a way to do that, and I'm going to show you that now. And I'm also going to put a link over on my blog telling you where you can buy those handles in the two sizes that you will need. Oh, and before I show you the actual handles that I'm going to recommend to you, I just want to show you a couple that I did consider, but for various reasons I rejected them. This metal one, it was too thin for me. I prefer something much more chunky in my hand, and although this works, it's what you call a collet chuck. That's the head on that handle is called a collet chuck. That's C-O-L-L-E-T, chuck. And that's basically what you're looking for. You're looking for a needle file handle with a collet chuck. And you need to find them in, you need one with a 3mm head and one with a 5mm. Now the metal one that is a 3mm chuck, and the other one that you see in my hand is actually a 6mm chuck, which is too big obviously for the 5mm pin. So anyway, I rejected both of those ones, and yeah, that one's much too thin for me. It might, you know, it might suit some people, and if anyone wants to know where to get those handles, it's on AliExpress. They are actually quite inexpensive to buy and they don't take long to be delivered. So these are the handles that I recommend. Now, they are made by a company in the UK, but I have checked with them and they will deliver to the USA, and I think they'll deliver anywhere in the world actually. So what I will do, I will put a link to the company over on my website. There will be a link to my website on the end screen. I will also put a link in the description below this video, but you can see it's very easy to fit the pin into this handle. You simply unscrew the brass collet and you take it off, you push the pin in, you then put the collet back over the pin and screw it really tight, and that pin is not going to go anywhere. It's just as secure in there as the pins were in my wooden handles. And what I really love about these handles more than anything else is you can either roll from the red part of the handle, which is really chunky and easy to hold, or you can move your hand down and put your thumb and index finger on the brass collet head and roll from there. So you've got choices with this on how you hold it. And I really love this, and I use this all the time now, in spite of the fact that I have got my own wooden handles. Yeah, I love these handles. So that's the 5mm tool. It's absolutely brilliant. I can highly recommend getting the handle and making your own. I'll come on to the pins again in a moment. And this is the 3mm one, which you make and use in exactly the same way as the 5mm. And obviously you're going to need to know where to buy the pins from, but again there will be a link over on my blog where I tell you exactly where you can buy the pins. You may have to buy them in a packet of 5 or 10 or whatever, but they're not expensive, and it's well worth buying. If you're someone who makes lots of beads, then it's definitely worth investing, I don't know, a few dollars in buying the pins. And maybe if you have friends that also want to make these tools, then you can buy a packet between you and share the pins. And if you wanted to, you could actually make these tools and sell them. You know, there's nothing to stop you from selling them. So that's it. That's my suggestion for if you want to make your own bead tool that functions exactly the same way that my wooden ones did. And coming back to my new clear plastic paper bead strip template, be aware that when yours arrives, it's going to be covered in a protective film that you need to peel off. It may look like it isn't see-through when it first arrives, but it is because of the protective film, and you just need to peel it off. It might come off in one go, it might come off in pieces, but you have to do back and front, okay? So just bear that in mind. If you want to buy one of these, I've got them over in my Etsy shop. There's also a link to my Etsy shop over on my blog, and as I said, there will be a link to my blog in the description underneath this video. There'll also be a link on the end screen of this video. These are slightly more expensive than my original template because they do cost me more to produce, but they have so many more benefits, you know, like I said before about the clear plastic and the thickness and the stability. So I think many paper beaders will find good value in this. I won't say the price on here because obviously videos become old and I don't know if it will always be at that price, but at the moment in August 2024 it's under £20, so go over to Etsy and have a look and see what you think. And of course there is the postage cost to whatever country you live in. I don't have a huge amount available on Etsy at the moment because I sold quite a few before I put them up there. So if you find that they're actually sold out when you get there, don't worry, because I will be making more and there will be more in my Etsy shop soon. And finally, as always, I have 3 free printables for you, and you can use these with your paper bead template, or you can use them in scrapbooking, art journaling. You can use them in anything where you would use paper. They are free. They are over on my website, which is www.funcraftstodoathome.com, and you can go over there and get the link to my Google Drive where you can download them in JPEG or PDF. One thing that is really important to remember when you visit my website to get these free printables is that you will never ever be asked for money. These are free, and if you are ever taken anywhere when you follow a link where you're asked for money, that means it's not the right link and you must click away, because I do have advertising on my website, and sometimes I think people click on an advertising link. So please make sure that you have clicked on the free printable link. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Take care and bye for now.